you, and welcome to the Poverty Reduction PDC. Item 1 on the agenda is apologies for absence.
Apologies from councillors Peter Jones and Christine Richards.
And then disclosures of personal and prejudicial interest. And 3 then is to approve the minutes of previous meetings, pages 1 and 2. Shall we go through page 1, page 2? Everybody agree? If not, do the normal and shout out.
Happy.
Lyndon has moved it.
Well, I think Leslie did actually, and I'll go in second.
There we are, and we all agree.
Doesn't make any difference, but
yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Straight on to item 4, promoting affordable credit policy. The last time we spoke about this was the June meeting, where Anthony said that it was then going to go out to consultation and integrated impact assessment has to be completed. So this has been done and now it's coming back to us. So I'll ask Amy, as Anthony is on his Christmas holidays. Although Amy didn't agree with her, they had an argument, and if Amy wants to put her right hand up, she'll show you the result of it.
Totally unrelated. But no, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so as Councillor Downing said, this is the final version. This has been out to consultation. The impact assessment is attached to it. This has been incorporated, the feedback that we've had. It was quite small amount of feedback, but it was quality feedback that we had, so it got incorporated into the final version of the document, which is also attached. And the same as the integrated assessment as well. We had some useful feedback from our colleagues, and it's been completed and approved by Access to Services, and the full integrated impact assessment wasn't required. There are no direct financial implications arising from the report, but they could be in the future as we go through implementing it. But at the moment, we are comfortable to make the recommendation really to you to move forward with presenting this as to take it through the process of getting it signed off as policy. So what you've got is the policy itself. We've been through it before in previous meetings, so it's quite succinct. Hopefully it explains what our objectives are as an organisation in terms of promoting affordable credit, and what we're going to do about it, and how we're going to promote affordable and support people to not go down the road of high cost lending. And so that's the objectives in terms of it. So it's just to progress really from this point.
Has anybody got any comments or questions? Like I said, this report has been to us a number of times. I think this is the last hurdle. And on page 3, there is a recommendation that the policy be agreed and forwarded to the Cabinet member and then Cabinet for approval. So somebody move?
Chair, I'll move. Can I make a comment as well, please?
Yes, sure. I think my screen is frozen, so if you've got your hand up, I can't see it.
Oh, right, okay, I've got my hand up.
Right, okay, can't see it.
Right, okay. Lost my train of thought now. Great to see this. We've got finally to this point. So pleased. The only other thing I would like to say is hopefully it will get through Cabinet as quickly as possible, because one of the things I would like to see, it's all very well putting together policies, but it's also a case of let's get on with it. And one thing I particularly want to make headway is with credit unions. I'm sure I've said this before, I get so frustrated that they have been round for decades, and yet they are still considered to be the sort of poor neighbour of a bank. And I just think we've got to change people's perceptions of them, and we've got to start working with them, and we've got to start promoting them as a good alternative, and the best alternative in my view of actually borrowing money, far better than any of the other. Well, I like the way you've put loan sharks are unregulated. In my view, they're no better than they're no worse rather than the regulated lenders, half of which are still managing to rip people off. So I'm all for this. Hopefully it will go through quickly, and let's get on and start working with credit unions as soon as possible. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Les. So my screen is back now. Anybody else? I can see Lyndon got his hand up in the corner, but you're still on mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I'd like to support that. I think credit unions have a real role to play as well in this, in you know, promoting, you know, affordable lending. So yeah, no, very happy to support the policy statement, and the sooner it happens, as Leslie did say, the better really, so it can get moving, and everybody has a role then to encourage people rather than, you know, rely on loan sharks and so on to use credit unions.
Okay, we're all in favour of this, I think. So can we have like a show of hands, put your hand up, or whichever one you want to use, and this will then go to the next stage. Okay, thank you very much. We go on to item 5 now, which again is this is the corporate personal debt recovery policy. Oh, sorry, David. Oh, no, hands up. This again is coming, and I like to see it coming to us as often as soon as we add something to the policy, just to make sure we're all singing from the same hymn sheet on this one. And again, Amy's taking this, and if you notice, we have added to the policy the introduction side of it, where we've added the council tax, which was from the workshop. But I have said that I am disappointed that the housing rents recovery is not in this at the moment, because that was part of our workshop as well, and we sort of came to an agreement on what we'd like to see in the policy. Anyway, Amy, this is over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So the yeah, I think you've said actually quite a lot of what the main points. So we've got the report gives you an outline of where we are. So just some of the key principles around it, some of the areas that are going to be that are covered, sorry, in the draft policy. It's still draft at the moment because there are a couple of teams information that we need to update in it, and our colleagues have worked on this. It is in final draft, but it's just not in the signed off, so it wasn't able to get here in time for this meeting. But we're quite reassured that it's going to be early in the new year that we'll be able to move forward with getting the final information in here. So the report itself shows the layout, shows where the information is going to go in terms of the different sections. So we've got the policy statement in there, the information from council tax, housing benefit overpayments, council social care contributions, and we're just waiting for our housing colleagues information. Like I say, they have drafted it, and then some of the smaller areas where we collect or where there could be debt occurring, personal debt. So obviously one of the key points of this policy, this is about personal debt for individuals rather than sort of business debt or the like. So it's progressed really well following the workshop. So yeah, that's, and the covering reports, the recommendation that we're making is that the remaining services that collect personal debt are invited to draft further sections in the policy. Then we'll be ready to take it out to consultation wider in terms of with the public as well. And again, how you want us to do that, whether that's bringing it back here and then sending it out or going straight out, is for discussion next time, I'm sure.
Yeah. Les?
Thanks. Just 2 points. You made me think of something else now. With the housing rents, do we know when we're going to get that through?
Well, I've spoken to the officer that gave us the report, and I think Anthony has. She's finished her actual report, but it's got to be signed off by her superior.
Right.
And I think that's what we're waiting for.
Any way we can put a bit more pressure on? I know it's a bit mean to say that 2 days before Christmas, but
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm just being slightly grinchy here because we
I
have been
think-
waiting a long time. I mean, it's not like we only asked for this last week. Well, you know, this has been going on for months, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah, well, since the workshop, like I said, Anthony's spoken to the officer and I have, and I thought that's why I said I'm disappointed it's not here.
Yeah. Yes.
But when it's gone upstairs to her senior officer, we don't know whether she's in work or not, or he. Yeah, but then Anthony will chase us up when he comes back,
Right.
because there's nothing we can do about it until he adds it. I think this is the discussion that we want, is if they come back with their input, do you want it to come back here, or can Anthony put it in, send it round to us, and then go out to consultation?
I'd say do that. Let's get this moving. So unless we, I mean, I trust Anthony to make sure that it's what we want, that it will fit in with this. I'd much rather we speed the process up. So if it means it's going to be quicker by just circulating it, if we've got problems with it, we can easily raise our hands at that point. But it just speeds it up a bit, doesn't it? That's my feeling anyway. Thanks.
Is everybody happy with that? That we'll just circulate? We mentioned that because they were the two big ones, and that's the two we wanted, and then the rest was smaller, and they will fit into the policy that way. Is it okay if when Anthony gets it back from housing that we circulate it, Lyndon? You're on mute again, Lyndon. One more, and you strike out.
Yeah, if we can get it moving more quickly, that's obviously good news. If we see it by email, if there's any issue, we can sort of shout straight away. But at least it starts moving. Otherwise, we could be waiting until the end of January to our next meeting, and then it'll be February and so on. You know.
Yeah, I could agree with that. So we're all happy with that. Nobody's jumping out to say they're not. So there is a recommendation anyway, which says that collect the personal debt uninvited to draft further sections to that. Can we add to that it gets circulated, or will it be done anyway? What do you think, Amy? Do you want to put it in?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we'll take that as a recommendation that we'll circulate it via email. And then it will still have the consultation period. So obviously, again, any changes can be made, and then it still comes back to this group. So yeah, we'll aim for that all to happen within that January-February period, because we'll need to do that consultation period as well.
Yeah, because if this happens the first week in January, we save 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's fine. Happy
Okay, we all happy? Okay, lovely. Thank you very much for that. And then on to the work plan. The only one thing that I've spoken to Anthony about bringing to our next meeting in January is the community food growing policy. So before I go any further, do you want to say anything on that, Amy?
Yes. Sorry, I could have prepared a little bit more for this because I have some further information, but I've been in back-to-back meetings today. Yeah, we've got information ready for the food growing policy. It's one of those ones we've spoken about it before. It involves a number of different departments, but I think what we're trying to do is make it as easy as possible for individuals, members of the public, groups to utilise areas of land that won't be used for something else to do food growing and sustainable food approaches in local areas. So it's the policy is going to provide that the framework to enable that to happen. So yeah, that's going to come forward.
And I think the other things that's I wouldn't say holding it up is a map of Swansea where we have land that could be available. But then Peter Jones did bring in that I think it's a quarter of an acre, and he was looking for more than a quarter of an acre. So whether that discussion will go to Jeff Bacon.
Yeah, we'll follow up with our colleagues in facilities around the use of the pieces of land, and so there have been maps done on a ward basis of identifying all these areas of land up to a quarter of an acre. So yeah, it's about having that discussion about other pieces of land as well. But this is just land owned by the authority, as we discussed, I think was in the previous meeting, if not the one before. So yeah, that will be incorporated within the policy, not the detail of every piece of land, but where people can find this information. We hope it can be hosted on our website, so it's quite an easy place that people can just access it to see if it's something that interests them.
And the other thing I was talking to Anthony about with this policy is whether we would have a paragraph with regards to garden sharing. So there could be signposts. If people phone up about garden sharing, they'll know, the officers will know exactly where to send these people, rather than looking at a separate policy for garden sharing. So that's the other thing we're looking at. And of course, I'll speak to the cabinet member and officers in between, and if there is anything that the cabinet member wants that we can do within a couple of months, although that's asking too much, well, we can always kick something off anyway. Les?
Yeah, I agree with you totally about the garden sharing. I think the sooner we can get something more off the ground in Swansea, because I'm sure that's a big problem for a lot of people. They don't want their gardens to look a mess, but they can't look after it for all sorts of reasons. So if we could only put person A who wants a garden but hasn't got one with person B who's got one but can't cope with it, I think it's a win-win situation, and it also makes every area look so much better because people are caring for the area they live in. So yes, I'd like to see something moving on that sooner rather than later. Thanks.
And if you can add it to that policy, that's much better then. Okay, so that'll be on the net for the next work plan in January. And if anything else we discussed that we can put in, there are a couple of things that are on the back burner. So we'll see where we are from there. So has anybody got anything else to add to this? No? Well, my laptop's working perfectly now because we come to the end of the meeting. So anyway, there's nothing else to say. That's all I can say now is have a very Merry Christmas, or the best you can have, and a Happy New Year, and more important, stay safe.
Thank you, Chairman.
Same to you.
All of you, Happy Christmas.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.